Hello everybody and welcome back to our channel, Two Brothers Outdoors. Okay, so we talked in an earlier video about a formula that I found out about to square out a log with very little waste, or at least a minimal amount of waste. We're going to explain that formula today, and we're going to try that formula on a log on the mill. We'd really like to cut down on the flitches, or at least cut down on how many flitches we end up with that we have to resaw. Hopefully this formula will help us out with that flitch problem. Okay guys, here's the formula to find a square cant and a round log. It's not my formula, I found it on the internet. I'm told that there's a magnetic chart that hangs on a mill that has this formula already worked out. If you know where I can get it, leave it in the comments below. Okay, so this is the log we're going to try this on today. It's a pretty straight log. It's just got a little crook right here on the end of it. I'm going to measure the log real quick, and if it's 8'6" or so, we can do away with this little crook and it won't hurt anything. So let me measure the log and take measurements of the end of it, the diameter, and then I'll get back to you on this formula. All right, guys, so what we're going to do, this log, like I said, is not exactly straight, but it's close enough. So I'm going to measure the diameter of the log, 15 inches here, 15 inches here. So I'm going to put the formula on the video. I'll put a picture of the formula on there so you understand what it is. All right, so let me get my calculator out. I'll be right there with you. Okay, so the formula, the way it's going to go is 15 times 15, because the diameter of the log is 15. So you take the diameter, multiply it times the diameter again. That equals 225. Then you take the 225, divide it by 2. That equals 112.5. Then you do the square root of 112.5, and that equals 10.6. So out of this log, we should get a square 10.5 inch by 10.5 inch cant, which is perfect because we're going to saw 1x10s out of it anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a tape measure, and I'm going to measure from the center of the log out both ways so that we come up with 10.5 inches. So it's going to be 5 1/4 one way and 5 1/4 the other. I know it takes a little time to do this, but to be able to make 4 cuts and come up with your square cant, to me, that is golden. Okay, so I measured the center of the log. It's right here where this X is, bullseye. Went 5 1/2 inches out this way, or 5 1/4 inches this way, 5 1/4 inches this way, same way here, same way here. So this should be our cant. Now, what I'm going to do with this is, we know that we can't go below 10.5 inches on the mill. So once we make our first cut and roll it, we know that we have to stop at 10.5 inches on this cut no matter where this line is. All right, so let's see how this works out for us. All right, so we're not going to cut below this line on our first cut, and we're not going to cut below this line on our first cut. So if we were production sawing, we want to get this squared off as quickly as possible. Eyeballing it doesn't always work. So maybe this formula will help us get a square cant out of this, and we don't have to fool around. Let's see what happens. This will be interesting. All right, this log has got a significant dip in it right here. So we're going to try the formula anyway, see how it works out on this log. Okay, so now he knows not to cut below this line right here. We've rolled the log 90 degrees. So let's see what we got. This log is not as straight as I thought it was. So we roll this a 90 degree again. He knows not to cut below that line, but now he's going to set the mill at 10.5 inches. Right, since we know that our cant is going to be 10.5 by 10.5, all he has to do is set the saw at 10.5. To move this switch off of here, it looks to me like we came out with a perfect cant. Okay, we've made 4 cuts. This log was not as straight as I thought, ended up with a little wane there, a little wane there, and a little bit on the bottom. Not bad though. This can is pretty much squared off. We're ready to cut siding out of it. 4 cuts. We had this cant ready to go. Now this flitch that came off of here, possibility we'll get a 2x6 out of it. The next one down, we might get a 1x out of it, but the rest of them are garbage. Okay, so by my calculations, which aren't always right, ow, damn this roof of yours. All right, by my calculations, which aren't only right, we should have come up with 10 pieces of siding here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Read them and weep. 4 cuts before we started cutting the siding.
10.
And that formula seemed to work out pretty well. 4 quick cuts. You had a cant that was square.
Yeah, we still might get
All right, so you know what I'm thinking too?
a couple of 1x's out of that.
We could get a 2x out of that, but you know what? We're going to need batting to go with these boards. So let's get this one on here and we'll cut it at 2 inches thick, that flitch, and then we'll start cutting batting out of it. See how many pieces of batting we get. So we have this one flitch that's kind of thick. And we're going to cut it at 2 inches thick to see what we have. At this point, we can make it a 2x6, a 2x4. But we are cutting siding. We're going to need batting. That's a candidate for batting. All right. So if we wanted to, we could get a 1x7 out of this. Definitely a 1x6 by 2 inches. Yeah, I'm sorry. A 2x7 or a 2x6. Definitely a 2x6. But we're going to make it batting, so we're going to stand it up, start ripping it down. Okay, so out of that flitch, we ended up with 10 battings. There, got one over here, and I already put one over in the shed. So we got 10 battings and 10 boards so far out of that 10 1x10.5s. 10 battings. And now we're going to see what we can get out of that last flitch. The other 2 flitches are junk. This is the left right here. They're too thin in this spot right here to get anything out of them. This right here, we're going to cut it 1 inch. It's a little thin in the center, so I believe we can get a 1x out of it. Don't know how wide yet, but we'll find out in a minute. Guys, we had some extra flitches here from the other night. Hello, Allie girl. And I think we can get a 1x8 out of that. 1x6s out of those. Let's just put this one on too. We'll get 1x6s out of all what's left there. And then we got another 1x10 on the ground there.
So 1x6s out of all these?
I think so, yeah. Guys, we hate messing with these flitches, but we'll not bring ourselves to let wood go. One final 1x10. Okay guys, we ended up with 11 1x10s out of that log, 10 battings, and 1 1x6. Not too shabby, but that formula got that cant squared out quickly and fast. It just takes a little time to get used to that formula is all. I think we're going to use it from now on. Even though we had to cut a few flitches, at least we only had to cut 2 of the flitches that came off that log instead of all 4. That hemlock log right there is nice and straight. We will use a formula on that log for sure, and we'll see what we come up with on that. Okay, guys, that's going to conclude tonight's video. Like I said, I'll put that formula on this video. I think it worked out pretty good. 4 cuts and we had a square can.
Absolutely.
And knew exactly what we were getting off in boards as far as what size. All right, guys, thanks for watching as usual. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscription button. Join the fun. Give us a thumbs up. You know why, the algorithm thing. And hit that notifications bell. You don't want to miss any more of our videos. All right, guys.
Tim, the drama guy.
Until the next one, we will catch you later.